And we are live. Good morning from freezing downtown Crestline in the San Bernardino Mountains of Southern California's Inland Empire. Someday I'll get this camera right. Well, I couldn't come on yesterday. I had medical appointment, nothing major. It's all good. Just a checkup. I'm going to have to get a biopsy on this thing on my lip. Huntora. Tora's a good kitty. Let's see. Yeah, say hi to your adoring fans. Such a good kitty cat. Yes, indeed you are. Yeah, she's my good kitty. Oh, such a good girl. Oh, the kitchen is flaring out on the camera. Oh, it's a cheap webcam. Not a big deal. All right. Let's see. So we are in beautiful downtown Crestline in the shivering San Bernardino Mountains of Southern California's Inland Empire. Specifically, San Bernardino Mountains, San Bernardino County, and Riverside County make up the Inland Empire. Something like 100 years ago, San Bernardino separated from Los Angeles County because they didn't like the politics in Los Angeles. And then a while later, Riverside County separated from San Bernardino County because they didn't like all the drunks in San Bernardino. Well, hello, Coco. Welcome in. Let's try to type the keyboards in the dark. They're here. I used to do touch typing. I was pretty good at it, but I've kind of lost the knack. Yeah, it's Friday. I was thinking of that song. I think it was Joni Mitchell on the bloody morning after one tin soldier rides away. Hi, Ditch. Welcome in. Since I couldn't be on yesterday on my regular day, I decided to come on today. Yep. Well, this is the Friday morning after. Relax, we'll be fine. Yeah, the government's going to get some shaking up. And I think the complacent Republicans and Demoblicans in Washington, D.C. need some shaking up. It won't be all butterflies and roses, that's for sure. But it never is. Oh, you want me to preach, Ditch? Oh, put on the full armor of God. I think it's Ephesians 6, but I'm not sure. Anyway, keep in mind that Donald Trump is actually a Democrat, a lifelong Democrat. Oh, in 2000, he joined a an independent party. I think they were called the Liberty Party. But when David Duke joined, Trump left that party. You know, David Duke, the high ranking Ku Klux Klan member who supposedly became a former Klan member so he could run for office. Trump did not want to associate himself with that guy. But Trump's role model is John F. Kennedy, the guy who got shot in the head. Sound familiar? Oh, Ditch is going to stick with the chest plates that the Cohens wear. Do they really? Who are the Cohens? Are they an Irish gang? An Irish mafia? Ditch trolled David Duke on the email 20 years ago. Oh, early Hebrew priests. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I studied that once, the history of Judaism, but it seems to have gotten pushed out of my head. The Cohens were early Hebrew priests. Well, anyway, Trump is a Democrat in Republican clothing. He couldn't get the nomination when the Democrat Party anointed Barack Obama. And he couldn't get the nomination when the Democrat Party, you know, the high up guys with all the money and power, they anointed Hillary Clinton. So he said, screw it. Now I'm a Republican. Fight me. Oh, Leonard Cohen. Leonard Cohen. I should know who that is, but I'm going to look him up just to make sure. Ditch's favorite Cohen. Yeah, Canadian songwriter and singer. Yeah, that's the guy. And when he gives speeches, he's amazing too. He is who I was thinking. There. He has given long speeches about social issues, politics, you name it. Not just music. But man, yeah. I watched this clip here where he sang Hallelujah. That's a very moving song. Died in 2016. Wow. So he died a few days before Donald Trump won the presidency in 2016. I think the day before. I think it was November 8th that time. Come on, I don't want swag bucks or my points. Evil pop-ins. Amazing. Well, I didn't know he was Canadian either. I read it off the Google page. Amazing guy. Totally amazing. Discography, song English, blah, blah, blah. All kinds of stuff. Well, I'll leave him up for a while. Another music type guy, a conductor that gave huge, amazing speeches was Leonard Bernstein. Or is it Bernstein? Yeah, it's Bernstein. Well, good morning, Caw 72. Welcome in. So, apparently, RFK, Bobby Kennedy Jr., is going to have a role in the new administration. My doc's appointment was just a checkup, but it messed up my whole morning. I have to see a cancer doctor. I've got a little tumor on my lip. Nothing life-threatening, it's just ugly. It's basal cell carcinoma. Well, and if Elon Musk is in charge of transportation, well, he fired something like 85% of Twitter employees. Is he going to do the same thing for the Department of Transportation? Oh, by the way, when Musk fired those people, he gave them 2 years of severance pay. So don't cry for the Twitter employees. They could sit on their tails for 2 years if they wanted to. The tumor's looking better. Let me see. I don't look in the mirror very often. Yeah, it is. Been painting it with betadine. Actually, a different brand. Betadine is a brand name, but it's iodine in water, not in alcohol, so it doesn't sting as much. Oh, and there's this college kid who went on TikTok and said, I'm leaving the United States and moving to Hawaii. So much for college education. He doesn't know that Hawaii is an American state. It's our 50th state. I think it got joined the Union in 1960. Let's see. I'll show you guys the page. Come on. Okay. Statehood. 1959. Okay. I was off by a year. Anyway, it was right after Alaska. My mom and dad had a record store when I was very young. And one of the record labels was 49th State Records. Sorry, got a tickle in my throat. Hawaii was hoping to become the 49th state, but Alaska beat them by a few months. Well, Hawaii voted for Kamala this time, and you say they're Republican? Yeah, it's more expensive than England or Australia or France. Well, I guess France isn't that expensive. Hawaii is expensive because everything has to be shipped there, either on a jet or on a boat. Hi, Pio. Welcome in. Guten Morgen. Welcome in, Juanita. Maybe I should change my day to Friday. I just couldn't come in yesterday. Anyway, Hawaii is beautiful. No wonder people didn't fuss as much as they should have about the lack of disaster aid on Maui when they had that fire. They didn't know that Maui is in Hawaii, or they didn't know that Hawaii is a state. I'm telling you, a college education and $5 will buy you a cup of coffee. If you want a college education, go for it. But you won't find success through a college degree. You'll find success between people in your social circle who can promote you. Now, I got my first teaching job because a professor recommended me. I think primarily because he was a fan of Philip K. Dick. They were thrilled to have his fifth ex-wife enrolled in their college. Go figure. But if you want a college education, go for it. It did good for me. But I took classes I was interested in without regard to what degree I might achieve by taking classes. I wanted knowledge. And I wanted social skills. You know, the devil's sister that I called mom didn't teach me any social skills. She taught me to be polite and behave and sit there quietly like all good children. But she didn't teach me how to interact with people. Yeah, well, junior colleges, the 2-year colleges, used to be free. When I went there, it was like $15 for a 3-unit class, and I was taking 12 units to be full time. So it's $60 a semester. The biggest expense was books, incredibly expensive textbooks. Yeah, in Europe, college is free, but you have to apply and you have to have the grades and so forth, or you don't get in. I think maybe that's a good thing. Ditch is considering going to Europe and staying with Pio in his basement with rats. Well, I don't have rats because I have cats, but I do have a uppity raccoon that digs in my trash and even comes to the door and asks me to let him in. I don't let him in. Well, hello there, horse liver fat. Welcome in. I drive by from work. Well, it'll be available for later listening. But we're just chatting about this, that, and the other thing. Well, this raccoon is beautiful. He got fat eating my trash. I've tried all sorts of ways to keep him out of the trash, but he's persistent. Anyway, yeah. Um, I kind of miss Chapman College, but they sold out and became a university. Oh, yes, Ditch. Rex Felix. King Faithful. Let me make sure my translation on the fly. I don't remember Latin having the letter X, but I guess it does. translated it from English to Spanish. Oh, happy or lucky? Excuse me. Okay. Faithful in Latin. Oh, fidelis, of course. Adeste fideles. Oh, come all ye faithful. So Felix is joyful. Joyful king. Phil thought it meant faithful. What? But I think of Felix the cat now. I'm going, wait a minute. Felix the cat was not faithful. He was a cartoon character who got into all kinds of trouble. Ditch says it depends on what era of Latin. Ooh, Pete lives right next to a church. Makes it handy to walk in the door on a Sunday morning. He lives in the former living quarters for nuns. Yes, Felix the cat had a bag of tricks. Kind of like Smokey Sue, the cat who moved in without asking and bullies the other cats. I really did not want her. She's beautiful, fluffy gray and gorgeous, but I had to get her spayed, and even with all the donations from nonprofits, it still cost me almost $200. I don't remember where I took. Oh, yeah. I remember now where I took her to get spayed. Pio's a metalhead, huh? Oh, burst into flames if he went to church? I don't know. Remember the Simpsons episode where Bart changed the music so they were singing In the Garden of Eden to the tune of Inagata Devita in the church on Sunday morning? Well, anyway, churches ought to, and some do, welcome anyone. The people you disapprove of need church the most. It reminds me of Franklin Graham. Billy Graham's son had a church that my son started going to church because of the message, come as you are. Oh, poor Pio. Left the wrong color spots on some metal bench parts. Oh well. Pio says his cat attends church. He likes the sermons. Even took Pio to church. Your cat took you to church. Sorry you're having so many problems, Pio. I think it's finally warm enough to turn off the electric heater and just save a few bucks. For the past week, it has been 40 degrees Fahrenheit during the day, not just overnight. Let's see, 40 F2C is 4.5 degrees, 4.5 degrees Celsius. I don't know, when I use rust paint, I paint the whole thing. Of course, my rust paint comes in a spray can, because it'll also prevent rust. Smoky Sue, you better leave Sweetie alone. She'll whoop your butt. Yeah, Sweetie's an original cat. I think some cats want out. Did you guys want to go out and play? Should I open the door? Hang on, kids. You gotta go on camera if possible. Smoky Sue, where are you? There she is. Beautiful cat. I hate her guts. Tora hates her too, but sometimes I catch them cuddling together. Yes, Smoky Sue. All right, let's let the kitties go out and play. Let's go open the door for the kitty cats. Oh, man. Come on. Let's go. Well, there goes Sweetie. Smoky Sue, you want to go outside and play? Do you? No? I wish you would. That's a good girl. Everyone except Tora left. All the kitty cats. So there's 5 outside and 1 in the house. I like this. Let's turn off this lamp. Okay. All right. Wow, I'm in good company here. If the brush is real big, you could try turning it sideways. Anyway, I suffered a severe brain injury when I was very young, about 2 years old, and yes, I remember it. Got my forehead bonked on a concrete curb, and as a result, my right eye has a blind spot, not due to the eyeball, but due to nerve damage. My brain has figured out a workaround so I can see with this eye, but it won't track. I don't have stereo vision. The two eyes just don't work together. Oh, poor Ditch, a brain hemorrhage. That's known as a stroke. When you were 27. Poor guy. I can't believe these people going on TikTok to scream and cry and shout a bunch of nonsense. It's the end of the world because our candidate didn't win. Well, what do you expect when the media make the guy out to be such a monster. He's a flawed human being, and I won't like everything he does. Ugh. Trash trucks are going by outside. Tora finds that interesting. Don't you? Yes. Um, yeah. Where's the joy? Every time I go to the grocery store or my friend puts gas in her car, I just about have a seizure when I see the price. Oh, Ka, are you in Ohio? God's country? Oh, the whole USA. Yeah, we don't worship the government, we worship God. I'm some of my followers are unhappy. They're Democrats. They wanted um, Kamala to win. Uh, okay. But just about every question, Ditch voted for Kamala. Okay. I was watching her speeches and her press conferences or talk show thing visits, but almost every question she had a long rambling answer. I grew up in a middle class family. She did not. Her parents were and are wealthy. Yeah, her mother had to save up for the down payment on $1 million mansion in an affluent neighborhood in Canada, somewhere in Quebec. I keep forgetting the name of the city. That's not middle class. I'm sorry. When you buy $1 million home in around 1980, that was quite a home. Oh, Pio bet $50 on Kamala. Sorry. In 1980, I had a chance to buy a really nice 2-bedroom house with a grandmother cottage in the back, nice gardens, a little breakfast nook in addition to the kitchen and dining room for $30,000. And Kamala's mother paid $1 million for her home and called herself middle class. It's okay, Ditch. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. I'm no party preference myself. I don't like any of them. I do have some hope that being an outsider Trump will do some good things, but I'm sure he'll do some things I don't like. Thing is, I don't know what Kamala would have done because she really wasn't stating clearly what she planned to do. It's just an independent. Well, in California, independent is a political party. So I had to choose no party preference. Yeah, she might have continued Joe's policies. I suspect that a few of Joe's policies were really her policies. After all, she was the last voice in the room and the loudest voice, and she approved of everything Joe did. Isn't it amazing how on top of things Joe Biden is now? I'm thinking he must have just had a bad day on the night of the debate, just like he said. Yeah, well, that's interesting, Ditch, about people who didn't vote. The total vote for president in this country this year was between 15 million and 20 million fewer than in 2020. Now, either that many people decided not to bother voting or there's something hinky about 2020. But in a way, it's a good thing that we got to see the contrast between two different terms. I want to say Republican and Democrat, but it's really two Democrats. It's just that Biden is a different kind of Democrat. Do you know that on the border, Barack Obama deported something like 3 million immigrants for being in this country without permission? I don't know how many Trump deported in his term. Oh, and those cages, kids in cages. Barack Obama had those so-called cages built, and he used them to make sure that the adults who brought the children across the border really were their parents, or at least aunts and uncles or cousins, because some migrants were using other people's children to get themselves a free ticket into the US of A. And they were not relatives. I wonder what they would do in the case of adopted children. They'd probably have some paperwork, wouldn't they? But you never know. Some of the communities, not just South America, but all over the world, don't really have reading and writing. Now, I'm all for welcoming immigrants. Oh, I thought Grandpa was outside. He's in the house. Hello, buddy. Grandpa, the old kitty cat. Whoops. He was quicker than the camera. He walked into the bedroom. old man kitty cat. I just want to make sure they aren't drug dealers or murderers or, the usual. And I want them to at least try to learn English. If their language is Spanish, that's a plus because most Americans know a little Spanish and we can learn more. But I also want them to learn about our Constitution and our form of government. Oh, Ditch. Freeman is at the VA. He says hi. Freeman expects to get more bad news. Well, hi, Grandpa. Let's see if I can get you on camera. It's too dark. That's Grandpa walking away. Oops. There he is. Yes, he's a good kitty cat. He was more polite about moving in. He was just a hungry man, weren't you? See that great big tomcat head? Okay. I think he wants treats. He wants food. Oh, Tora knows the word treats. Well, hang on, Tora. You're number one, so you get treats first. Here, Grandpa Kitty Cat. Here you go, Cat Man. What? You don't want that? Catman, Catman, Catman. Da 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 da. Catman, he doesn't want his treats. Well, let's see if there's any food left in the dish. Here, kid. There you go. That's a good kitty cat. Okay. Well, if you're holding out for canned food, you'll have a long time to wait, kid. Canned food is at nighttime. Hi, Ren. Welcome in. Oi. Anyway, relax. We'll be fine. There'll be some things happening that we don't like, and some things that we do like. Hey, no tax on Social Security. My poor brother and my sister-in-law retired, and they have to pay taxes on their Social Security. The government takes back about half of it because they also put money into retirement plans at work. So they also have to pay income taxes on the retirement fund because that's always been taxable, but now they also take away half of the Social Security, and they're really struggling financially. So no tax on Social Security is good. And I can see the reasoning for no tax on overtime pay, because what happens is the overtime pay puts you into a higher tax bracket, so you don't really make any money working overtime because of the taxes. I wonder what else I'm going to like. Even though I don't work overtime, and my Social Security is so tiny, I don't pay taxes on it, but every time they have an increase for inflation on my Social Security, it gets closer and closer to the ceiling where I'm no longer in the category of indigent, poor, poverty, and I won't get um, discounts on Medicare and food. And yet, well, I get about almost $1,200 a month. When I was in my 40s, I figured if I could make $800 a month, I could live very well. Middle class, nothing special, but I'd be stable and secure. Now on $1,200 a month, I can't pay my bills. I have to beg friends and family for money. And so all my books and stuff, but I would do that anyway because I'm 70 years old and it's time to get these things into other hands, to people who will treasure them and take care of them. Oh, Ren worked at a casino. Yeah, you made more money if you worked only 8 hours rather than 16. Yeah. Oh, it was security. And then he dealt table games. I used to enjoy playing blackjack, 21. But not now. You really have to go to the table where your minimum bet is $10. Like I'm going to bet $10 and they'll deal 3 cards to me. There are some $5 tables, but the lines to get to those tables are out the door. And I'm not going to stand in line to give a casino my money. Oh man, Ren, your car insurance is $1,400 a month? The price of a 1-bedroom apartment. Yeah. Well, around here in California, $1,400 will get you a studio. In other words, you sleep in the living room because there is no bedroom. Or you can rent a room in a nice house. Ditch lost $400 at a craps table and loved it. My son explained to me how to bet on craps. You want to bet 5, 6, and 8. You'll come out ahead more often than not. So you put $5 on 6. Wait a minute. Yeah, $5 on 5, $5 on 6, and $5 on 8. So it seems to work. Well, I don't have a car for obvious reasons. I couldn't afford to put gas in it, let alone insure it. I know more people who foolishly got car loans because they just had to have a car to drive and then had to give up the car because they couldn't afford the insurance, they couldn't afford the license. Every year in California, you pay the equivalent of the sales tax on the price of your car. I had an old clunker, an old Honda Accord, and it was $300 a month. And I'm sorry, $300 a year just for the little sticker to put on the license plate every year. The insurance was not too bad. It was $150 a month. Oh, Ren says car payment and insurance combined is $1,400 a month. Yeah, it can be fun to lose at a casino if you can afford to lose. It's kind of like an amusement park where you don't have to wait in line to get on a ride. I'm barely keeping the house. My insurance went up. I'm lucky to have insurance. All the insurance companies are bailing out of California because of all the regulations and price controls. So I'm kind of struggling. At least I have a couple friends who still have cars. I can get a ride, and they don't ask for anything, but I try to chip in on the gas, or if they won't take cash, then when we go to the grocery store, I buy a couple things for them. It says Jesus drove a Honda. Read John 7:28 in New English Standard. Okay. John 7:28 New English Standard. And it says, so Jesus proclaimed as he taught in the temple, "You know me and you know where I come from, but I have not come of my own accord. He who sent me is true, and him you do not know." So a Honda Accord. Okay. I'll leave it up for a minute. Yeah, I like the King James, but if I'm going to read aloud, I do the English Standard, the ESV. V for version. Not New English Standard, but just plain old English Standard. His Accord was in the shop. Okay, let's see if I'm correct on Ephesians 6. I think that's it. The Bible verse I want. Maybe not. Okay, let's try full armor of God. ESV. Yeah, it is in Ephesians 6. Put on the whole armor of God. This is Paul talking. No, I don't want to learn Greek. I tried that once. It's frustrating. Verses 10 to 20. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you to stand against the schemes of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. This is actually one of the best English translations, by the way, because they let you know in plain language we're wrestling against spiritual wickedness, spiritual evil. Okay, verse 13. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand firm. Oh, that's the end of a sentence. Having done all to stand firm. Stand, therefore, having fastened on the belt of truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and as shoes for your feet, having put on the readiness given by the gospel of peace. In all circumstances, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming darts of the evil one. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. And many preachers foolishly stop there. But verse 18 is very important. Praying at all times in the Spirit with all prayer and supplication. Prayer is like the most important part of it. Of course, I'm over here reading the Bible. Okay. So let's ditch that. Let's see. Yeah, I don't understand where people get the money to buy homes and cars and go on vacation. There's something weird about that in this economy. Ren, by the way, is Jason. Ubers in Scottsdale, one of the wealthiest cities in Arizona. People in Scottsdale don't seem to be affected by the poor economy. They probably don't even go to the store. They send a servant. Or they have DoorDash bring them stuff. Ditch, I'm 70 years old. I'm not going to learn Hebrew and Aramaic. I can recognize a few words if they're in our English/Latin alphabet, but I'm even forgetting some of the Greek letters, how to write them and how to read them. And I used to know all of them. Yeah, average workers are scraping by. Yeah, that's true. Corporations will pay for employees to stay in hotels and write it off on the corporate taxes. Yeah, having a car is really expensive. Well, I might resort to having our local grocery store deliver things. I can't always get a ride when I need it. They charge $10 flat fee, and I do like to give a tip to the driver. But, in many cases, I want to pick out my food, especially if it's fresh fruit and veggies. If I just want some coffee and canned food, that's okay. And if I'm going to buy any kind of meat, I will pick it out because that stuff's expensive. Oh, I used a banana bread recipe from an old Bisquick cookbook. Bisquick is self-rising flour. It's a little more complicated than the self-raising flour of Canada and England. It has other stuff in it like oil. And I think it has both let me get the box. Baking powder and baking soda. Anyway, I made what would have been a nut bread or a banana bread, but I made it with raisins. And I forgot to put cinnamon in the batter. It wasn't in the recipe. I guess in 1960 they tastes have changed since then. I also increased the amount of sugar, but not by much, by about a tablespoon or two. And I used half white sugar and half brown sugar. And the raisins were soaked in Cointreau, an orange liqueur. So I zested an orange and put the orange rind in the mix. But I forgot the cinnamon. It isn't the same, so I'm going to have to put frosting on them. They're not very sweet, and they don't have the spiciness, so I took the cream cheese and used a fork to stir in powdered sugar, also called icing sugar. And we'll see if that makes them edible. Let me get the box, the biscuit box. Let's see. So I guess here we have self-rising, and in England and Canada they have self-raising. Where's the ingredients? Enriched flour, bleached. Vegetable oil, cornstarch, dextrose, that's a type of sugar, leavening, which is baking soda, sodium aluminum phosphate, monocalcium phosphate, salt, sugar, and monoglycerides. That's kind of a type of fat. I'm not going to buy any more Bisquick. I'll go back to what I used to, which was make these quick cakes, no yeast, from scratch. It's bad enough that our flour is processed and bleached and really doesn't have much food value. Well, at least flour is the first ingredient. Oh my Lord and my God, no. No more Bisquick. I bought that during COVID when you couldn't get flour. I thought, well, it has flour in it. Ooh, gawk. I'm still going to eat the raisin bread I made. I'll just have to put cream cheese frosting on it. Oh, and let's see, the cream cheese frosting also needs some vanilla extract and a pinch of salt. Well, 2 or 3 pinches if you're using a lot of cream cheese. Oh dear. Ditch complains about chemicals while drinking a Red Bull and smoking a cigarette. Yeah, but you didn't have to read the fine print to know what's in your Red Bull and cigarette. Pio wants to smoke a cigarette. I'm going to smoke one. So here I am all bundled up because, especially in California, the heating bills are outrageous. What were they thinking? You ban fracking and stop issuing permits to drill for petroleum, oil and gas. And the states that depend on oil for their economies don't vote for you. Gee, I wonder why. Yeah, I'm almost out of cigarettes. I don't think I can buy a whole carton, but I can probably come up with enough for a pack. Ditch made a joke. I've been on for over an hour. And my internet is still working, but it's getting close to 9 a.m. when the signal gets weak and I start breaking up. So maybe I ought to just remind you we will all be okay. There will be things we like and things we don't like. But it looks like our taxes will be cut. Unless you're like me, stuck in California. If the feds reduce taxes, the state will take that as an opportunity to increase taxes. Our sales tax is almost 10%. Anything but food that you buy, add 10% to the price for taxes. Oh well, I am thrilled that Bobby Kennedy Jr. will take over our broken healthcare system. I just hope some of his environmental policies don't happen because they're kind of nuts. But as far as making America healthy again, yeah. When I'm watching YouTube, most of the ads I see are for pharmaceuticals. Take this to lose weight. Take that to grow new hair on your head. Take this other thing to be better in bed. Oh, you got osteoporosis? We've got a pill for that. You can look younger and feel younger with this drug or that drug. No. No, thank you. Yep, genius and madness, Stitch. That's RFK. Well, you know why he joined with Trump? Because the Democrats wouldn't have him. They wouldn't even let him run in the primary because they had chosen Joe Biden. And overall, Joe Biden isn't that bad. I'm shocked when I look at what was done in his administration, and I don't believe that it was Biden doing it. Ditch's mom gave him all her bone density, huh? Well, I suffered a severe illness. My kidneys were failing and infected, probably failing because they were infected. And I lost 35 pounds all at once. I still haven't gained back very much of it. And that's why my body started falling apart. I don't even wear a bra. I have nothing to put in a bra. I'm that skinny. And they keep pestering me to get a mammogram, and I keep telling them, how? How am I going to get a mammogram? I have nothing to put in the machine. I did suggest a sonogram, the sound thing, but it isn't really much better than just feeling my breasts for lumps, and I'm not for breast cancer. Oh, poor Carl. I have dentures, complete dentures. I'm just not wearing them. I kept my original teeth as long as I could, but frankly, I am glad no more toothaches, no more drilling, more root canals, no more numbing my mouth with Novocaine. I love my dentures, and I love being able to take them out, especially at night when I want to sleep. Frankly, the best thing I ever did was get rid of the last of my original teeth and go for full dentures. Partials are a pain. I mean, they can hurt, and it's a pain. They do come out usually. Some are don't come out, but they get all kinds of food stuck in them if they're the kind that come out. So I'm like halfway through a meal and I have to excuse myself and go to the bathroom sink and rinse the food out of my partials. So I'm much happier with full dentures. Oh, poor Ditch. His teeth make him look like a demon. Pio paid for his mom's partials. That's a good son. I don't know. Every person is different. You get advice from a dentist or an orthodontist, an expert. Don't take my advice. Full dentures work for me. They might not work for you. And I'm not a doctor. Even though I play one on TV, that's a joke. I'm not on TV, and I'm not a doctor. I did study pre-medicine with the goal of becoming a veterinarian, but then I ended up teaching English. Yeah, if Ditch was rich, he'd go with implants. My brother has 2 implants to hold a partial on his lower jaw. I don't know. It seems to me that the time it took to heal and the pain he went through and the fact that he had to be on a liquid diet for a month, I'm not sure I would find it worth it. Yeah, technically I'm on TV. If you're computer's monitor is a TV. Anyway, tickle in my throat again. See, they tell me, the doctors tell me I have COPD. But actually, my lungs are fine. I just have chronic bronchitis. My throat gets clogged up with gunk. Oh, porcelain implants. You mean crowns on the... Never mind. Yeah. I used to make monthly payments to my dentist. I couldn't pay all at once for the treatment I needed. Phil, my husband, went to this dentist just because he would give him laughing gas. I've forgotten the name of it. Anyway, it relaxes you but doesn't put you to sleep. And Phil was a real chicken when it came to the dentist. Well, I went there on Phil's recommendation, and the first visit I had the gas. Yeah, nitrous oxide, thank you, Ditch. But he was so gentle and so good at his work that I decided I didn't need it anymore. I only had the gas when he was doing something like a root canal that stink, because with the mask on, I didn't smell the gunky stuff. And I'd keep going like this, turning my hand, usually my left hand, turn it down, turn it down, turn it down. And eventually he'd say, well, now you're just getting oxygen. And I'd do a thumbs up. Nothing wrong with oxygen. Yeah, Phil had terrible experiences with dentists. He really had bad teeth, worse than mine. Witta, welcome in. I'm actually winding down to leave you guys. It's been an hour and 18 minutes. Oh, poor Witta. You got to get out of Florida. Do you have any friends or family or something that can help you get out of there and into shelter? You got to get out of Florida. Their laws are screwed up. It's a great place to live if you're wealthy. Well, don't go to North Carolina. They had this little thing called a flood. I guess the closest states to you would be Georgia and I think it's Alabama. Let me see. Come on. Map. Yeah. I think I got that right. Georgia and Alabama. It's actually a An eBay listing. Here's Florida, Georgia, and and Alabama. South Carolina got hit pretty hard too. Pay no attention to the colors on this map. They're not. It's not an election map. I hear Tennessee is a nice place. There. Here, get back. Well, Georgia is to the north of Florida, and Alabama is to the north of the far left panhandle of Florida. So just head north. Oh, Witta says you should avoid Tennessee. Okay. Well, between Georgia and Alabama, I think the cost of living is much lower in Alabama. Ditch doesn't recommend it. Well, then Georgia. Or you could just be passing through. Don't come to California. We have veterans living on the street. Hi, Caw. Well, you could come visit me someday if you ever get to California, where I was born and raised. We could meet at a local coffee shop and have some coffee and talk. Well, you could start speaking Spanish and tell them you're from Guatemala, and they'll give you a free airline ride to wherever you want to go. There must be buses and trains. Well, maybe you should learn Arabic if you don't look Spanish. Tell them you're from South Africa and just put on a funny accent and speak English. See you, Dacha. I'm about to head out of this live stream myself. Oh, rent a U-Haul and pack it up and go till you run out of gas. All right, thank you all for being here. Come on. I did not tell you to turn on, so you just turn off. Turn off. The printer just took half my bandwidth. It wants to upload new software. So I will see you guys. Be good and be well.